Let's set the scene. The date, January 15th, 1947. The place, Los Angeles, California. The city that sells dreams to the world, but often keeps the nightmares for itself.
So, picture this. A woman is taking a morning walk with her little kid in a quiet neighborhood. She spots something in the overgrown grass. From a distance, it kind of looks like a discarded mannequin. But as she gets closer, she realizes the horrifying truth.
Because what that woman discovered that morning would kick off one of America's most haunting and sensational unsolved murders, the case of the Black Dahlia.
So let's start right where the police did, with that grim discovery in the vacant lot.
What the first officers on scene found was just something out of a nightmare. The body of a young woman, posed and cut completely in half at the waist with shocking precision.
And here's a truly chilling detail. Her body had been completely drained of blood. It gave her skin this unnaturally pale, almost waxy look. And she'd been scrubbed clean. This wasn't just a murder. It was a grotesque, meticulous display.
But before she was a crime scene, a headline, or a legend, she was a person. So who was the victim at the center of this whole mystery? Her name was Elizabeth Short. She was only 22 years old, a hopeful young woman from Boston who, like so many, came to Hollywood chasing a dream of stardom. The thing is, she had no real acting credits, no known enemies. She was just a young woman trying to make her way. But the tragic end of her story forces us to shift focus from the victim back to the crime itself, and the details reveal a killer who was anything but ordinary.
I mean, when you really look at the killer's methods, it's horrifying. The bisection of her body suggested real medical knowledge. Her face was brutally mutilated into a ghastly grin, what's sometimes called a Glasgow smile. And again, her body was washed and then deliberately posed. So the key takeaway here is, this was not a crime of passion. It was a calculated, almost ritualistic act.
As you can imagine, news of the murder just exploded into a complete media circus, and the police investigation was totally overwhelmed. But right in the middle of all that chaos, the killer himself was about to step out of the shadows.
The scale of this manhunt was just massive. At its peak, the LAPD threw a staggering 750 investigators at this one case. They cast a super wide net, officially questioning over 150 different suspects in the weeks and months that followed.
But this huge effort was just choked by all the sensationalism. In a crazy frenzy for publicity, more than 60 people actually came forward and falsely confessed, sending the real investigation down one dead end after another. While the police were just drowning in all these false leads, something happened that cut right through the noise. The real killer decided it was time to join the conversation. An anonymous caller, who claimed to be the killer, phoned the editor of the Los Angeles Examiner with a taunting message. He promised he had proof. And he delivered. A package arrived. Inside were Elizabeth Short's personal belongings, her birth certificate, some photos, and her address book. And in another chilling echo of the crime scene, every single item had been carefully wiped clean with gasoline, completely destroying any chance of finding fingerprints. For years, the case went cold. All the leads just dried up. But decades later, investigators zeroed in on what many people believe is the most plausible suspect ever identified. The suspect was a Dr. George Hodel, a brilliant and sinister physician with known surgical skills and a very dark side. And the accuser? You won't believe this. It was his own son, Steve Hodel, who grew up to become an LAPD homicide detective and built this massive case against his father. And this might be the most damning piece of evidence of all. Long before his son ever accused him, the LAPD suspected Hodel. Back in 1949, they secretly bugged his home and recorded him saying this. It's the closest thing to a confession anyone has ever heard. So why wasn't he arrested? Well, at the time, that wiretap recording just wasn't enough to secure a conviction. Hodel eventually fled the country, and he died in 1999 without ever being charged. And because of that, the case, to this day, officially remains unsolved. When we look back, it's just so important to remember the person at the heart of this dark story.
a 22-year-old woman who came to the City of Angels simply hoping for a better life. She never got to be a star on the silver screen. Instead, her brutal, unsolved murder made her a different kind of legend, a permanent fixture in the dark folklore of American true crime.
Her killer took her life and then just vanished, leaving behind a puzzle that has captivated and horrified us for generations. And that final, haunting question is still out there. Will we ever really know who killed the Black Dahlia?